Shabbat. Not Shabbat Shalom. Jeez. Wish it was Shabbat. Regular Shalom. Tuesday Shalom. Or Wednesday Shalom, if you're on YouTube. I'm going to give it just a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get started in our study. All right, you guys. Well, probably going to be a shorter study today. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so if you wouldn't mind keeping me in your prayers, and then I'm just going to do a Torah portion and then read a few chapters of Enoch, and like I said, it'll probably end up being a little bit shorter than our normal studies are. I don't really have any housekeeping stuff, just generally keep everybody in your prayers if you wouldn't mind. Like I said, keep me in your prayers as well. Let's go ahead and just get right into our study. I'm not going to wait too much time for the live stream to fill up. People will trickle in. All right, Exodus chapter 3, if you are following along. Let me find my bookmark. All right. We are, Moses in the burning bush is where we're at right now in Exodus. Now Moses was tending the sheep of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock into the wilderness area and came into the mountain area of Horeb. And an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flaming fire out of the bush. Now that's an important distinction. It is the angel of the Lord that was in the burning bush, right? So not the, like it's always depicted as the Most High. It was an angel of the Most High. And it talks about this in Acts chapter 7 as well. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flaming fire out of the bush, and he saw that the bush was aflame with fire, but the bush was not being consumed. And Moses said, when I pass close by, I will observe this great spectacle, that the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he was approaching, and remember, when we're just reading these like mainstream translations as they're written, Lord just means Adonai, Master. You know, it's not definitively always talking about the Most High or about Yahshua. It can be just a master, right? The name Lord or Adonai can be attributed to anybody. Human, angel, the Most High, Yahshua. So just keep that in mind when you're reading through it. When I saw that, and it does not burn up, when the Lord, verse 4, when the Lord saw that he was approaching to observe, the Lord called him from out of the bush, saying, Moses, Moses. And he said, what is it? And he said, do not approach here. Untie the sandals of your feet, because the place on which you are standing is holy ground. I think that's really interesting too. Like, why can't we wear our sandals on holy ground? I think it has to do, this is just speculation, complete speculation, but if you've ever looked into grounding and the science behind grounding, and that the Most High is actual like light, energy, power, right? So I think it's possible that if there was some kind of insulator in between, you know, that when you're standing on holy ground, you could die. So just a complete theory, can't say for sure. But I do find it interesting that you can't wear sandals on this holy ground. Anyways, verse 6, and he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses turned his face away, for he was afraid to look at the face of God. And this is an interesting thing too as well, because we know, again, that it's the angel of the Most High in the bush, right? There's speculation all over the board. I tend to believe that it's Yahshua in the burning bush, that he is the angel of the Lord. And I believe that because of what it says here in just a minute. Let's keep reading. Verse 7, the Lord said to Moses, having observed, I know the suffering distress of my people that is in Egypt, and I have heard their outcry because of their taskmasters. For I know their grief, and I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out from that land and lead them into a good and spacious land, into a land flowing with milk and honey, into the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and Hivites, and Jebusites. And now, look, the outcry of the sons of Israel has reached me, and I have seen the affliction of the Egyptians are pressing upon them. And now go, I send you to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and you will bring out my people, the sons of Israel, from the land of Egypt. And Moses said to God, Elohim, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and that I should bring out the sons of Israel from the land of Egypt? And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, I will be with you, and this is for you the sign that I will send you out. When you bring out my people from Egypt, and you will also worship God at this mountain. And Moses said to God, look, I will go forth to the sons of Israel, and I will say to them, the God of our fathers has sent me. They will ask me, what is his name? What will I say to them? And God said to Moses, saying, I am the one who exists. And he said, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, the one who exists has sent me to you. So, a couple of quick things on this. If you read in like a Masoretic translation, it says, I am that I am, Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya. So that, if you look into it in the Paleo-Hebrew, basically means like nail and hand, right? Like Yahshua, like what was going to happen there. Now, again, we can get into all kinds of debates about this, but at the end of the day, we know it was the angel of the Lord in the bush. It's undisputable, right? And there's agency going on here. Even when you look at Yahshua, right? Look at John 7:16. He said, I'm speaking my Father's word, right? So you could be addressing him as the Most High in that instance, since he's carrying the weight and authority of the Most High, the agency of the Most High. But again, we know that Yahshua is the only begotten Son, and there's so much symbolism and clues and hidden messages that the Most High left us to show us the future, to show us that it was Yahshua to come, that Yah, the Most High, sent Yahshua to be our means of salvation. So when you look at the Masoretic translation and it's, I am who I am, that seems to be a coded message about Yahshua, right? But again, Yahshua has the agency of the Most High here. So it could very well be Yahshua that he is speaking to, but Yahshua is still in a submissive role to the Most High. He is still the angel, the messenger of the Most High. So we can get into this. I have videos about this subject, but just want to leave it at that for anybody that might be new here, hearing this for the first time. Go check it out. Anyways, verse 15. And God said again to Moses, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. Right? Angel of the Lord. This is my name forevermore, and a memorial for generations to generations. Therefore, when you go forth, gather the council of elders and the sons of Israel, and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, appeared to me, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, saying, with observation I have observed you, and the things that have befallen you in Egypt. And he said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of the Egyptians into the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Girgashites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, into the land flowing with milk and honey. They will listen to your report, and you yourself and the council of elders of Israel will go in to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and they will say to him, the God of the Hebrews has summoned us. Therefore, we will go a distance of 3 days into the wilderness so that we may offer sacrifices to our God. I know that Pharaoh, king of Egypt, will not permit you to proceed with this except with a strong hand. When I stretch out my hand, I will strike the Egyptians with all my wonders that I will perform among them. And after these things, he will send you forth. And I will grant favor to this people before the Egyptians. And whenever you depart, you will not escape empty-handed. A woman will ask her neighbor and fellow sojourner for vessels of silver and gold and clothing, and you will place them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and plunder the Egyptians. Okay, that's the end of chapter 3. We'll get into more of this in a little bit. The next few chapters are interesting, but I will say this. I believe that there is a key to the second Exodus in the original Exodus, right? What has been done is what will be done. The second Exodus is going to be greater, but there's definitely clues in here about how it's going to go down, possibly even when it's going to go down. So we can talk about that more another time, but I do believe there is clues in this, which is, again, why we need to be studying the Torah. Beyond just learning his laws and applying them to our lives, which is a given for anyone who claims to believe in the God of the Bible. But beyond that, we need to study this so we can show ourselves approved, so we can be the wise virgins who don't miss the coming of Messiah Yahshua. All right, guys. That'll wrap up our Torah portion for the evening. Let's get into the book of Enoch. And we were in 49. We were in 49. That's where we ended last week. Shalom, Jairus. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Having a good week so far. All right. Book of Enoch, chapter 49. In those days, my eyes saw the secrets of the lightning and of the... Oh, you know what? I forgot here. Gotta flip on over Enoch mode. All right. In those days, my eyes saw the secrets of the lightning and of the lights and the judgments they execute. And they lightened for a blessing or a curse as the Lord of Spirits wills. And there I saw the secrets of the thunder, and how when it resounds above the heaven, the sound thereof is heard. And he caused me to see the judgments executed on the earth, whether they be, goodness gracious. All right, hold on. Getting tongue twisted. All right. Whether they be for well-being and blessing or for a curse, according to the word of the Lord of Spirits, right? So it's talking about the weather. We know that the Most High uses weather for good and for bad in our case sometimes, right? He used a tornado to pick up Elijah, but he uses tornadoes to destroy the wicked, right? Flooding, fires, hurricanes, volcanoes, earthquakes, all things that Yah uses. And that is their excuse. That is their excuse with this whole climate change nonsense, so that they can explain away the judgment of God coming down here to warn the people. The same thing happened pre-flood, right? We're gonna talk about that. But the same thing happened pre-flood. Like Yah sent Yah sent Noah and Methuselah to go preach his word to the people, to tell them to repent, to turn from their wickedness. And when the city didn't listen, he sent on it natural disasters. Right? He sent flooding, isolated flooding. He sent hail. He sent windstorms. Right? So the weather can be good for us. Right? If no rain falls on your land, that's a bad thing. Right? Rain makes corn. You guys know the rest of it. Right? But if there's no rain, no corn, no vegetables, no nothing, right? So it can be good, a blessing, or it can be bad, judgment, right? So they're trying to explain away all the judgment of Yah coming on this nation, right? Every year it gets worse. Like my job that I do, on a weekly basis is tied directly to the weather. And I can tell you, over the last almost decade I've been doing this job, every year it keeps ramping up, right? And to the point where insurance companies are changing their policies heavily. They are, if you're a homeowner, it will affect you at some point. They're making wind hail deductibles mandatory, hurricane deductibles mandatory. They're putting more exclusions in their policy for things that they know are going to keep coming because it keeps getting worse every single year, right? And this is the judgment of Yah on a wicked nation. We've seen it time and time again, but now they're explaining in a way with climate change, right? And again, when you talk about climate change as a whole, I just saw a really interesting photo. I'm sure it would be pretty easy to look up, but it was a photo from like 1927 or something from the Statue of Liberty, like 100 years ago or close to 100 years ago. And then they showed that same picture from like a couple of years ago, and the water level hasn't changed like at all. Not at all, right? So all this detrimental climate change, the oceans rising, horrible, like it's not actually happening. They're just explaining away the judgment of Yah. And then you talk about all this stuff like humans playing God, all this cloud seeding, weather manipulation. They can absolutely do that. That's a fact. No longer a conspiracy theory. They can control the weather. They can make it rain. They can induce earthquakes. They can do all kinds of stuff. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if they could just like create a tornado if they wanted to, or create a hailstorm, but they for sure can make it rain, and they for sure can induce earthquakes on lands. They know how to do that now. That's not conspiracy theory. That's fact. So people will say, "Oh, well, you know, it was the government that caused this flooding in this, you know, North Carolina. It was the government that caused the flooding in Texas or whatever." And you know what? Even if that's the case, Yah is allowing them to do it. The Most High is allowing them to do these things and to bring judgment themselves on this nation, right? So don't take the power away from Yah. Maybe they can make it rain a lot. Maybe they can cause earthquakes or hurricanes or whatever. Maybe they can do those things, but the Most High is allowing them to do it, right? So don't take the power away from him is all I'm saying. I've seen too much of that on the internet where they're like, it's the government, right? Like God has nothing to do with it. It's not true. It's not true. And oftentimes, again, you can see where Yah puts it in people's heart to carry out his will, right? We've seen that with wicked nations that he used to judge his own nation because of their wickedness. He puts it in their heart to carry out his will. So he uses them, right? We can't escape the judgment of Yah, of the Most High. We cannot. And you're ascribing it to men when it's not. This is all ordained and allowed by the Most High. And it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse because, well, quite frankly, I think we're spitting distance from the end. And I say it all the time, and it might be 6 months. It might be 2 years, 5 years, it might be 7 years, right? But I'm pretty sure we're going to see some stuff trickle down very soon. 2026, 2027, I think something big's going to happen. Don't know exactly what that is yet, what it's going to look like, but for those of you with eyes to see and ears to hear, you're probably going to know when it happens what's going down, because this is not going in a good direction. But back to the book. All right, verse 3. And after that, all the secrets of the lights and the lightning were shown to me, and they lighten for blessing and for satisfying. All right, what are we? We're at 60. In the 500 and the 7th month and the 14th day of the month in the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 and 10,000 times 10,000, were disquieted with a great disquiet. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angels and the righteous stood around him. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins gave way, and dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. And Michael sent another angel from among the holy ones, and he raised me up. And when he had raised me up, My spirit returned, for I had not been able to endure to look at this host and the commotion and the quaking of the heaven. And Michael said unto me, Why are you disquieted with such a vision? Until this day lasted the day of his mercy. And he has been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell on earth. I think we're getting into talk about Judgment Day here. Pay attention. These are always interesting for us in our day and age, I believe. It says these books were written for us. All right. Verse 6. And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment come, which the Lord of spirits has prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, the Torah, and for those who deny the righteous judgments, God's judgments in the Torah, which, make no mistake, this is talking about you Christians. This is talking about you Jews. This is talking about you Muslims. Like, as a whole, nobody is walking by the Torah. No mainstream established religion is doing what Yah said to do in the Bible. It's just a fact. Read what he said, and then look at what the Christians are doing. Look at what the Jews are doing. Look at what the Muslims are doing. All people that claim to worship the same God, and none of them are walking by his laws and his judgments at all. At all. So, sorry, this is talking to really a lot of people we know. All right, and for those who take his name in vain. Now, again, I've talked about this before. This isn't saying the GD cuss word, right? I don't think you should say that one, but I was always taught that's what it means to take the Lord's name in vain, but that's not actually what it means to take his name in vain. Like, sure, you can use his name as a cuss word. I'm sure that's definitely not pleasing him, but when we look at what it really means, especially Hebraically, to take a name in vain, it means to represent somebody in an unbecoming way. So if my son grows up, right, and I sent my son to go do a business deal for me or to go do anything really in my name, he would be doing, he would have the agency of me. He'd be going out and representing me. So if he acts, very badly and poorly, it's a reflection on me, not just a reflection on him. So he would be taking my name in vain by doing that. And that, unfortunately, is what a lot of Christians and Jews and Muslims are doing. They're taking his name in vain by their day-to-day actions with their man-made doctrines that don't preach the truth. God said all this stuff to us in the beginning of the Bible, and these churches are not preaching that. They are not preaching it. It's just a fact. They're not. Go read his laws. Go read his judgments. Go look at Yahshua for how to walk out his Torah, his laws, and then look at what they're doing. Everybody's doing a little bit of it. Sure. There are Satanists who are doing a little bit of what the Torah says. Undeniably. Like, there are people out there that are atheists, that are Satanists, that are being better Christians than Christians are being. People that will still take the shirt off their back for you or feed the homeless or whatever. There are people out there doing that do not represent Yah at all. Right? So everybody's doing a little bit of it. But it's not about doing a little bit of it. It's about doing all of it. Whatever is in our power to do, that we must do. And I can prove that with scripture, not with my opinions. And I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of videos about it over the years. So they are taking his name in vain when they represent him in a way that is unbecoming of him. When they say, hey, his law was nailed to the cross, right? You don't got to do it anymore. Not for us. You're taking his name in vain. That's fact, right? You can deny it if you want, but that's how you're taking his name in vain. So beware, right? When you want to represent the God of the Bible, when you want to represent the Messiah of the Bible, you are taking their name upon you. You're taking their agency and saying, I am a representative of Jesus, Yahshua. I'm a representative of the God of the Bible. Now, when you turn around and act foolish and terrible towards other people, now what are you doing? You're taking his name in vain. So beware if you want to do that. All right. who take his name in vain, that day is prepared for the elect, a covenant, but for sinners, an inquisition, right? And remember, you really need to know God's definitions in the Bible. A sinner is breaking his laws, right? That is literally the definition of lawlessness, and being a sinner is breaking his laws in the Torah. The laws that you and I were taught in a mainstream church that we don't have to live by anymore. Some of these are just guidelines. No, as long as you believe in Jesus, you're okay. That's what we were taught. Not what the Bible says at all. Not what the Old Testament says, not what the New Testament says. It's not even what Paul says. Not even what Paul says. So, make sure you know what a sinner is and if you're falling into that category. Because by definition, if you are willfully breaking his commandments, if you acknowledge him as your God and you have a Bible in your hands and you say, no, I don't gotta keep the Sabbath. I don't gotta keep the dietary laws. I don't gotta keep his feast days. I don't have to be fair with people like they had it come in. No, I can price gouge. That has nothing to do with that. No, I can sleep with my neighbor's wife and Jesus will forgive me. Like all this stuff that Christians are doing, right? And that's what it means. That's what it means to be a sinner, a lawbreaker, and you might want to really read Ezekiel 18 about that if this is all new information to you. But it's not going to go well for you. I'm sorry, ignorance isn't a good card to play. It's really, really not. Speaking to me too, right? Like, it's not going to be a good card for any of us to play, right? Hosea 3:6 or Hosea 4:6, in that neighborhood, right? My people perish for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected my laws, I will reject you. We don't want that to happen, right? We don't want to perish for lack of knowledge. So get in the Word. Do what it says. Do your very best. Do what it says. God wants some effort here. It's not that hard to put in some effort into doing what he asked you to do. All right, verse 5. 5, 6. That's really weird. That must be a typo. I think this is verse 7. Anyways, we'll continue on. When the punishment of the Lord of Spirits shall rest upon them, it shall rest in order that the punishment of the Lord of Spirits may not come in vain. And it shall slay the children with their mothers and the children with their fathers. After the judgment shall take place according to his mercy and his patience. He's been massively patient with all of us. I'm sure we can't even understand the depths of patience and mercy that he's poured out upon us. And on the day where two monsters parted, a female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abyss of the ocean over the fountains of the waters. But the male is named Behemoth, who occupied with his beast a waste wilderness named Duodain, on the east of the garden where the elect and righteous dwell, where my grandfather was taken up, and the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of Spirits created. And I besought the other angel that he should show me the might of those monsters, how they were parted on one day and cast, the one into the abyss of the sea, and the other unto the dry land of the wilderness. And he said to me, You, son of man, you do seek to know what is hidden. And the other angel who went with me and showed me what was hidden told me, What is the first and the last in the heaven in the height, and beneath the earth in the depth? At the at the end of the heaven, on the foundation of the heaven, and the chambers of the winds, and how the winds are divided, and how they are weighed, and how the portals of the winds are reckoned, each according to the power of the wind, and the power of the light of the moon, and according to the power that is fitting, and the divisions of the stars according to their names, and how all the divisions are divided, and the thunders according to the places where they fall, and all the divisions that are made among the lightnings. that it may lighten, and their host, that they may at once obey. For the thunder has places of rest, which are assigned to it, while it is waiting for its peal. And the thunder and lightning are inseparable. And although not one and undivided, they both go together through the Spirit and separate not. For when the lightning lightens, the thunder utters its voice, and the Spirit enforces a pause during the peal, and divides equally between them. For the treasury of their peals is like the sand, and each one of them, as it peals, it's held in with a bridle, and turned back by the power of the Spirit, and pushed forward according to the many quarters of the earth. And the spirit of the sea is masculine and strong, and according to the might of his strength he draws it back with a rein. And in like manner it is driven forward and disperses amid all the mountains of the earth. And the spirit of the hoarfrost is his own angel. And the spirit of hail is a good angel. And the spirit of the snow has forsaken his chamber on account of his strength. There is a special spirit therein, and that which ascends from it is like smoke, and its name is frost. And the spirit of the mist is not united with them in their chambers, but it has a special chamber. For its course is glorious, both in light and in darkness, and in winter and in summer, and its chamber is an angel. And the spirit of the dew has its dwelling at the ends of heaven, and is connected with the chambers of rain. And its course is in winter and summer, and its clouds and the clouds of the mist are connected. And the one gives to the other. And when the spirit of the rain goes forth from its chamber, the angels come and open the chamber and lead it out. And when it is diffused over the whole earth, it unites with water on the earth. And whensoever it unites with the water on the earth, for the waters are for those who dwell on the earth, for they are nourishment for the earth and for the Most High who is in heaven. Therefore there is a measure for the rain, and the angels take it in charge. And these things I saw towards the garden of the righteous. And the angel of peace who was with me said to me, these two monsters prepared conformably to the greatness of God shall feed. Very interesting stuff. There's some other Apocrypha books that say that Behemoth and what's the other one's name? It's Behemoth and goodness gracious, Leviathan. Jeez, will come back in the end days and terrorize the earth, basically. And I just think about when it says in the canon, I can't remember exactly where it is right now off the top of my head, but it said, you know, the wind and the waves and the sea will be roaring, and men's hearts will be failing them for fear. Like, whatever is going to happen is so scary that people are literally just going to die of fear. That's what the Bible describes. Right? No, not even talking about the Apocrypha now. We're talking about just what the Bible says. It says that people are going to be so terrified they're just going to die, right? And if you saw this gigantic monster coming out of the sea, I could see that maybe being a cause for fear. So I just, again, I think that's some very interesting stuff that it talks about. Let's see. I think I'm going to read... Let's read one more chapter, and then I'll probably get off here soon. Just like I said, feeling a little under the weather. So let's read one more. All right, this is going to be 61. And I saw in those days how long cords were given to those angels, and they took for themselves wings and flew, and they went towards the north. And I asked the angels, saying unto them, why have those angels taken these cords and gone off? And he said unto me, these have gone to measure. And the angel who went with me said unto me, These shall bring the measures of the righteous, and the ropes of the righteous to the righteous, that they may stay themselves on the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. The elect shall begin to dwell with the elect. That'll be a real good day. Remember who the elect are, who the saints are. Revelation 14, it's people who have faith in Yahshua, the faith of Yahshua, and who keep the commandments of the Most High, right? It's not one or the other. It's not faith or obedience. It's faith and obedience that makes you elect and righteous. According to the Bible, not my opinion. The elect shall begin to dwell with the elect, and those are the measures which shall be given to faith, and which shall strengthen righteousness. And these measures shall reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, and those who have been destroyed by the desert, and those who have been devoured by the beasts, and those who have been devoured by the fish of the sea, that they may return and stay themselves on the day of the elect one. For none shall be destroyed before the Lord of spirits, and none can be destroyed. And all who dwell above in the heaven received a command and power, and one voice and one light, like unto fire. And that one with the first words they blessed, and extolled and lauded with wisdom, and they were wise in utterance and in the spirit of life. Wise in the spirit of life. What does that mean? Right? What does Yahshua say? If you want to enter life, keep the commandments. Well, what does God say in the Torah about its commandments? These are your life, right? You want everlasting life? You need to do what God told you to do. And unfortunately, most mainstream religions are not doing that. What if does creature already exist? Not sure what you mean, George. If you could clarify in the comments, I'll try and answer, but I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. All right. And the Lord of spirits placed the elect one on the throne of glory, and he shall judge all the works of the holy above in the heaven. And in the balance shall their deeds be weighed. AIX. Hopefully you're not an AI bot, but you know better. I don't know anything. I just know what God told me in his word, and I read it and try to apply it to my life, which is something that you should really do if you want everlasting life. Verse 9. And when he shall lift up his countenance to judge their secret ways according to the word of the name of the Lord of spirits, right? In the Bible, remember, the Bible tells you over and over again that everything will be revealed and that you're going to get judged. And that judgment starts with believers. So, judgment's coming for all of us. And their path according to the way of the righteous judgment of the Lord of spirits. Then shall they all with one voice speak and bless and glorify and extol and sanctify the name of the Lord of spirits. I bet that would be a pretty powerful event. And he will summon all the hosts of the heavens and all the holy ones above and the hosts of God and the cherubim, seraphim, and Ophanim, and all the angels of power and all the angels of principalities and the elect one and the other powers of the earth and over the water. On that day shall they rise one voice and bless and glorify and exalt in the spirit of faith and in the spirit of wisdom and in the spirit of patience and in the spirit of mercy and in the spirit of judgment and of peace and in the spirit of goodness, and shall all say with one voice, Blessed is he. And may the name of the Lord of spirits be blessed forever and ever. Amen. All who sleep not above in heaven shall bless him, and all the holy ones who are in the heavens shall bless him, and all the elect who dwell in the garden of life. Remember what it says in Revelation. To all who conquer, keep their robes white, keep the commandments of God, he will give those to drink from the water of life, which is in this garden here, New Jerusalem. And all the elect who dwell in the garden of life, and every spirit of light who is able to bless and glorify and extol and hallow the blessed name, And all flesh shall beyond measure glorify and bless your name forever and ever. For great is the mercy of the Lord of spirits, and he is long-suffering. Yes, he is, to put up with all of us. And all his works and all that he has created, he has revealed to the righteous and elect in the name of the Lord of spirits. Remember, it's his works. His works we're trying to do, not our own. We are going to pick this back up in 62 next week. So, hope Yah willing, we'll pick this up in 62 next week. So, I hope you guys have a good, blessed rest of your week. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me, sheepdogministries@hotmail.com. Other than that, like I said, if you wouldn't mind keeping your brothers and sisters in prayers, keep me in prayers. Like I said, I'm feeling a little under the weather today and yesterday, so I'm hoping it'll pass soon. But if you wouldn't mind keeping me in your prayers, I would appreciate it. Other than that, Yah willing, we will meet on Shabbat and continue in our Numbers and Matthew study. There's so much going on in the world right now, you guys. I don't even know how much I want to get into right now, but it really seems like time is ticking closer and closer to the end. I've been seeing some interesting stuff about even mainstreamers are starting to wake up to the fact that things are going to happen on feast days, right? The people that don't want to keep the feast days, or some of them are waking up and being like, hey, something big is going to happen on feast days. And it always does, right? In the original Exodus, it happened on a feast day, and all the symbolism in the Bible, a bunch of these big events keep happening on feast days. So come time of the fall feasts and the spring feasts, we all need to keep our eyes open and our ears open and watch for the signs of the times. But it looks like stuff's really going to get weird next year. Like, at least in the United States, stuff's going to get weird next year. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But man, stay strong, you guys. Stay in the Word. Have your lamps filled, have your iron sharpened, just maintain your faith, because we are going to need it when it hits the fan, and it's going to hit the fan. Like, there will be judgment coming down for sure, and it's ramping up every day. So anyways, I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed rest of your week. Reach out to me if you need anything. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you wonderful peace. In the name of Messiah Yahshua. I love you guys. I hope to see you this coming Shabbat and next Tuesday. If you need anything, like I said, just reach out. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I love you guys. Have a good night.